Welcome to this week's episode of the Impact Cast Eugene. This week we have Shanna from Positive Community Kitchen on the cast. Shanna, how are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
Awesome. I'm doing great.
Good.
Ricky, you on?
Great.
Sweet.
Hello, Ricky.
Oh man, Shanna, so you, Positive Community Kitchen, won Impact Club a year and a half ago. It's been a little bit.
Almost 2 years ago.
Almost
I think
2 years ago.
June or July of 2018.
And at that time, I think it was like $8,000 was the win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, I think it was almost close to 9.
9? Awesome.
Yep.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, that sounds good. I mean, it's an amazing number. Now, like this quarter so far, it's at, I think, rated 11,000, which is pretty cool. So
amazing. I mean,
and,
the community, how it comes together, and how this format of just being able to provide such a substantial boost to especially a small nonprofit's budget is just amazing.
I know it is really cool. I love it. It's like I think Ricky and I's like long-term passionate like work outside of everything else. So which is really cool. But
makes the rest of it worthwhile.
For sure.
That's what it is. Like thinking about like it's okay to be in business for profit, but also it's like what's the true vision behind your business and what do you want it to do, right? I mean, profits only will take you so far. And it's typically for most people, it's like they want to create a business and somehow give back to other people. And so for us, like with, what we do, it's just basically we just give free time, and some money to it for the quarterly events. But ultimately, it's just to coagulate all those people together. So that way they can do
so much more
now. Right. Yeah, exactly. So with that, let's start off by just telling us who you are. And telling us about Positive Community Kitchen, and then we'll just hit some questions around that and go from there.
Yeah. Well, I'm Shanna Hutton. I'm president of the board for Positive Community Kitchen. Positive Community Kitchen is a local nonprofit in town in the Eugene, Springfield area that provides free organic meals to those that have been diagnosed with cancer and other life-threatening illnesses. One of the beauties, many beauties about the organization is we enlist local teens to come in and help make the meals. So teens learn about healthy living, healthy eating, and as well as have the reward of helping those in the community that really need it.
Awesome. Nice. And how did you get involved with Positive Community Kitchen?
So I've actually been involved since the inception of the organization. I banded together with a group of people that shared the same vision. Wendy Strugar being one of them. She's a local small business owner in town. And they kind of had this idea, and I had a similar idea that I shared with them, and we put this organization came into being, and we started to cook.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. And so did you start out when you first started in those early days, did you start out in a small place and now you're in a bigger place? What's it kind of look like? How have you grown? How's that all?
We have been amazingly blessed. We cook in the same kitchen that we cooked at the very first of our days. We at the beginning of the program, I think we had about 3 families that we cooked for, and we cooked with, I believe, the first day we had about 4 teens in our kitchen that day, and today we cook for over 100 clients. Wow. And we used to cook 1 day a week, which is on Mondays, and now we cook 2 days a week, and we're able to accommodate so much more. And we have grown so much in the last 6 or 7 years during this program, and it's amazing to see just the power of support behind us, and then what we're able to give to other people.
Yeah, that it does sound really amazing. You said 100 people you're cooking for. So how many meals is that roughly a year that you guys are putting out? That's got to be a lot of meals.
Well, this day and age, as far as what COVID has done to our program, I would hope that I could give you a number. I mean, our production model at this point in time, just because of where we are right now, we are cooking double what we used to, 5 weeks ago. And so we're cooking about 1,200 meals a week.
1,200.
1,200 meals.
And how many So you cook twice a week. How often are you delivering meals to people?
Well, we've had to change our model just a little bit to accommodate just the demographic of the people that we serve are
Wow, high
incredibly
risk.
high risk. And so we took a look at our program, and usually we deliver every week. And now we've kind of shifted to a model where we can deliver every 3 weeks, just to make sure
Wow.
that we are mitigating as much potential transfer as possible.
Okay.
So right now, for all of our clients, we're delivering every 3 weeks, but it's 3 weeks worth of food, so they can
Oh,
store it in their freezer if they want to, and so it's very user friendly in how they need to use it throughout those 3 weeks.
okay. Gotcha.
Mhm.
Gotcha. That's pretty cool. So, and they just basically can just take the meal out, prep the meal and go, kind of like almost like a home chef, but in a really local, organic way with good, healthy food that doesn't have anything bad in it for them. Right.
Yes.
So,
So, I mean, all of our recipes are incredibly nutritionally dense.
yeah.
We have done so much research in regards to what type of food people really need
Hmm.
during a time where they're in recovery and really needing that sustenance to help them heal and nourish their bodies.
Yeah.
So, we truly believe that even if they're going through a treatment process where they might not be able to eat as much, or they just don't have as an appetite like they used to,
Yeah.
just getting those 2 or 3 bites of really healthy food can help them through this process. And in addition to serving the clients that we serve, we also really believe in helping to support the whole family. And so, any caretaker, whether it be a spouse or a partner, we believe in serving the whole family, including kids. And so, we
Wow.
realize that providing food for those caretakers is just as important as keeping that patient healthy.
Right. I could imagine that that's probably I mean, I know and understand from personal experience that is a very stressful time. Our mother passed away from pancreatic cancer 5 years ago now, Ricky.
Oh, wow.
5 years ago. Horrible experience to see somebody go through.
I'm so sorry.
But also in like trying to get them to eat and do that. And then the stress of like trying to manage their medical, the strain on that is
Yeah.
definitely challenging. So,
Well,
I
it's
mean,
so much
having that,
more
yeah,
of a stress. I mean, it's a stress on the patient, no doubt, but the
yeah,
people that are supporting that patient and it are in so much stress as well. And I can tell you that the service that inspires me the most is I know that there's a lot of people out there that have supportive friends and family that can help them through this. And we
yeah.
believe in supporting them as well.
Mhm.
Half of our clients are servings of one, which means they are home alone and they are doing
Really?
this on their own.
I
And
remember. Go ahead. Sorry.
so I can tell, I mean, when I see packages go out that are two servings of one, it really motivates me and inspires me to support them so much more because I know that they don't have the resources that a lot of people do within their homes.
Wow. I've never even thought about that. That must be
Yeah,
so challenging.
I remember
Jeez.
from when you presented, you brought that up, and it was something I had never even considered because when our mother was sick, we had friends and stuff that all wanted to do a meal train type of stuff. So
Yeah.
so our sister moved in with our parents and take care of them, and but people were dropping off meals all the time.
Yeah.
We didn't really think about it, and then when you brought that up, it was like, oh my god, I haven't even thought about the people that have they're by themselves. What do they do? And well, positive communication steps in and helps out there. It's
Yeah.
Well, and it's
amazing.
so much more at that point in time, you realize that it's so much more than just a meal. For these people
Right.
specifically, they're not only getting the nourishment of these meals, but they're also getting a connection to our community. And at that time in your life where you're going through this really stressful time, sometimes you're prone to loneliness, you're prone to depression. Um,
Yeah.
that doesn't help your recovery, and what you need that sense of love, and you need that sense of community to really inspire you to and inspire your immune system to get better.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of truth to that. Like your overall mental state has a lot to do with your personal health, well being, and how you can recover faster. I 100% believe in that. So 1,200 meals a week. You guys got 100 people that you're serving. What is the effect of the COVID 19 situation on positive community kitchen or PCK? I mean, it sounds like you've increased, but is there any other strains that it's caused? besides the delivery and that type of stuff?
Oh yeah, I mean, we've had to transition our model drastically. We're
Yeah.
now working, in addition to the increased food support that we want to provide for our clients,
Hmm.
as well as right now we're trying to accommodate everyone that's on our wait list because
Hmm.
we know it's such a stressful time.
Oh,
We really want to get food out to those families as well that wouldn't
I bet.
normally, that would have to wait maybe a month or two in order to get our support. But in addition to that, it's also the manner in which we're cooking. Unfortunately, right now we have no teens within our kitchen because we know that they are, even though they are low risk as far as symptoms are concerned, they're a
Hmm.
very high risk population of transferring this illness.
Right.
So we want to make sure that we are doing this in as safe of an environment as possible, especially for our high risk clients. So we've needed to change how we cook. And so we're cooking in a very kind of a skeleton crew of maybe 4 or 5 people in the kitchen. And so to really wrap your mind around how much food we're cooking on a weekly basis, and with very little, kitchen support that we have, the staff that we have on hand right now in our kitchen is so low. So it's an incredible feat that these people
Hmm.
are doing. But
Awesome.
it's stressed our volunteer base. We're now serving so many more people, and so the volunteers that we need to deliver these meals is substantially strained. And so it's definitely, we've had to definitely make accommodations during this time to really not only help our clients, but to also just continue our operations.
I bet. During like normal operations, when we don't have this crazy environment going on, how do teens get involved with Positive Community Kitchen?
Yeah. So really, it's become such somewhat of a social club, which is kind of nice, especially when it comes to teens, because we all know that that peer pressure portion of your social life is so great during that time, and
A positive peer pressure.
yes.
Yeah. Like,
A
oh
lot
my
of
gosh.
teens hear about us through so most teens during these days have hours that they need to fulfill, some volunteer hours that they
Oh,
need to fulfill
okay.
on an annual basis. And so a lot of them get involved because their friends know about it and they're like, hey, you can come do your 5 or 10 hours and do it here. And so it's really kind of it's become, like I said, a fun kind of social scene, like where
Yeah.
teens from pretty much every high school are represented within that kitchen. And so it's really cool to see. I feel like teens, they kind of hang out within their own social circles, and sometimes they don't venture into other grades or
Yeah.
other schools. And so to kind of see all of the schools represented within the kitchen and see those teens really start, it's a 12-week program for them, for most of them. And so to see them start to really interact and make friends with people that necessarily aren't within their demographic and within their demographic and within the people that they normally socialize with is really fun.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, it's a really inspiring place to be within that kitchen. But I think another thing that really inspires me is the fact that you have all these teams that get involved, and they might have to do 5 or 10 or 15 hours depending on what program they're in within high school. But then after those hours are completed, you still see them in the kitchen, and they come
Yeah.
back. They just want to be. And I think it's a testament to really how much our youth community really cares about other people within their community. And if you
Yeah.
offer them that opportunity to get involved, if you offer them that opportunity to lead programs that really do, number one, strengthen them as an individual, but also strengthen our community, they'll step up to the challenge. And
Huh.
it's really, really cool to see.
That's awesome. And so really like kind of the crux of it is they come in initially through community, like having to do some sort of community service hour through school, and then end up staying. A
Yeah.
lot of them end up staying because they like the social group and everybody, and it's a good positive group for them to be involved with. That sounds
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
Really
and
smart.
we've ramped up our youth education format, that we have a team leadership committee now.
Oh, cool.
Our program was always based on having 2 board board members be teen board members. And so those teens actually have voting rights. They, they apply, they get accepted onto the board. They learn about the ins and outs of running a small nonprofit. They're integrated into the financials, they're integrated into the fundraising, and so they have this experience even before they exit high school, of being intricately involved in this organization. They run their own fundraiser, in which, their goal is $10,000 to raise. And so,
sweet.
When their tenure is done within our board, they have accomplished so much. And for a teen to have that experience before they even enter college is really valuable.
That's huge. Yeah. What were you saying, Rick?
Oh, I just say that's priceless for them. I mean, the experience that you get being on a board of something like that is not something you can measure at 16, 17, 18 years old. So the fact that they get an opportunity to do that is amazing, and it's cool to see younger generations step up for stuff like that. One thing that you hear a lot of younger people say is they want to they want to make change in the world, and here they are getting that opportunity at a very young age. When I think previously it was always as you kind of got yourself established and whether it's in business or your career, and then you kind of had that opportunity to turn around and utilize that education and network so that you can make positive change in the world. So that's great that you incorporate them and integrate them into that.
Yeah, no, I firmly believe that if they are able to accomplish so much and they feel and they've taken ownership. I mean, that's the great thing about the teens, and even the teens that sit on our board, but also the teens that come into the kitchen each week. We couldn't do what we do without them. And so they have this piece of ownership of our organization, and they realize how valuable they are. And so it gives them a sense of meaning and purpose, and that's what this is all about. I mean, when you talk about just the positivity that you can bring to the world, it is that purpose. It is that meaning of their life.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think a lot of people, they end up, later in life looking back and trying to determine how they could give or what they could do now to make up for times that they didn't. And I think instilling that in at a really young age allows them to do it their whole life, and that's one of the things that we learned growing up was working, volunteering, and everything that we did was always a part of our life. So it's really easy for us to do now versus for us to be 60, 70 years old, then want to give our experience back. I always just want to do it now and make it part of my life, which is, I think, a very valuable thing to help young people understand. So that's really cool. I think that, over time, you don't really know the downstream effects, where does the person that comes in there that maybe didn't get that opportunity, to be able to give before, now that they've realized, oh, I could do that. Maybe they create their own nonprofit. Maybe they do something else, or they become part of something bigger, where they can relate the experience back to this and have empathy for people, or maybe even they become doctors, or, all those crazy things that you just don't know. Mm-hmm. You can only just hope and look for the future and see where they're going. And then hopefully they come back one day and say, hey, because of this, I got this happened to me over here, which is cool. So sure. I could see that for sure. Mm-hmm. Looking now, where are you guys heading for the future? What's your big horizon goal? What are you guys trying to achieve? Do you have any big things that you're planning on doing?
I feel like, every nonprofit has their 5-year goal as far as, for us, it would really be having a facility of our own so that we could cook 5 days a week, offer more youth programs, serve more of our clients, more meals. Right now we serve them probably about 3 to 4 days worth of food, and to be able to give, a full week's worth of food if it's needed, would be a huge support. And so I feel like that is really, the place where we want to go is, and those baby steps are so integral to your long-term goal. So what's, a year from now, what I would love to see is us cooking 3 days a week instead of 2 days a week. And then kind of trying to find our own facility or fund our own facility and be
Right.
able to really establish a center of community for our own organization, where possibly there's a garden and a kitchen and cooking classes for our community, and
Yeah.
a place for really people to come together, because that's something that we've seen within the kitchen that's so magical and so inspiring. Is really, we have our adult volunteers that range all the way up to 85, and you have these teen volunteers in the kitchen as well that are working hand in hand and side to side together
Hmm.
to really provide this support. And so it's just a melting pot of people, and to have
Right.
that connection within the community is really so important.
That sounds awesome. I mean, that could be an amazing thing to have locally. So
Yeah.
that's I think a great goal to have for down the road. Um,
We've also implemented recently, and this was kind of one of our long-term goals, is a Meals for Meals program. And so we've had some very or requests from people in regards to, do you ever sell your meals? So people that maybe aren't sick, but want this support within their household. They want to try
right.
something new. They want to try some healthy food. And so we've implemented now our Meals for Meals program, where you can actually go and buy meals.
Yeah.
And then your donation, the price that you pay for those meals, helps to fund the meals for those that really need it, and the free
Oh,
meals.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So recap that again. So you buy a Meals for Meals. So basically you go buy a meal from you guys, and then that also helps support the other side of your business, or
Yeah,
your
we've
nonprofit.
always felt that
Huh.
there's this community of people that may not have the $100, $1,000, $10,000 donations
Yeah.
to really to really kind of guide our growth. But everyone needs dinner. Everyone needs lunch. And so if you can buy your meal, and a portion of that proceeds, or all of the proceeds in our case, go towards helping our organization feed these other clients,
Wow.
they feel integrated into that growth as well.
Yeah, that's a win-win. They get
Yeah.
a meal, you guys get more exposure, you get assistance, and a smaller scale, but where they get to have a hand in that as well. That's
What a brilliant idea. Like,
Yeah.
how does somebody sign up for that, or where do they find information about that?
On our
That's
website.
really awesome.
Yep. So on our website, there's a link on our website that
Okay.
it tells you a little bit more about the program and the type of food that you would be receiving, and the details and the price, and all of that. So,
Oh, cool. I'll put your website in a finished page
website
at the very
is
end.
positivecommunitykitchen.org.
there you go. I was going to say, plug your website.
Yeah.
I have a question.
I'll make sure it's in the notes. Go ahead, Rick.
So I know you guys work with a lot of terminally ill people. So, but do you have people that maybe come out of recovery and then say, you know what, this thing was so amazing that I want to, how do I help? Can I, do you have people come in and do that?
All the time. I mean, it's
forever.
really inspiring and motivating for them, I feel like, to give back after they've felt that they have received so much.
Yeah.
And so there's a good portion of all our volunteers that have received our service, and that's the reason why they're integrated into the organization.
Nice.
That's super cool.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. That's just validation of what you're doing. I mean, that's the ultimate validation right there, is someone who utilizes the service and says, oh my God, this was so amazing. How do I jump in now that I'm healthy and help other people?
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Circling back around to the why of how you started, can you tell us more about that? What was the original? What I know is there's a story behind it. Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah. So are you commenting on my personal story?
Yeah, your personal story as to why. I mean, it obviously, I mean, it's very powerful what started this whole thing. And I think it's probably something that probably should be told almost any time, because it's a very powerful story. And then you got other people involved, and it kind of went from there, which I don't want to make anybody cry, but I mean, it is a very powerful story.
Yeah. So about, 9 years ago or so,
Yeah.
I had a very, very close friend who was diagnosed with colon cancer. And at the time, she had kids the same age as mine who were very young. And it was devastating, to be in your early 30s and to be diagnosed with colon cancer was really scary. And
Yeah.
so I did what I knew best to do, and I started cooking for her family, and just really wanted to research what type of food, what diets would be really helpful for her during this time. And so through doing this, I really wanted to bring what I was doing to the community because I knew that it was making such a difference for their family. And at the time, I had two little kids, and I didn't, you're so wrapped up in so much during those days, and I wasn't quite sure how to implement that.
Right.
And through friends of friends, started to hear about a couple other ladies, Wendy Stigar and Megan Wiest, who were forming this organization and had a similar idea, and really kind of from there was able to connect, and we joined forces, and then we started to cook for these people, and it was just it's been an amazing journey. Unfortunately, my friend lost her life maybe about 7 years ago. But it's just been one of those things where you can't explain it. You can't necessarily you always search for the reasons why. You
Right.
always want to know why something like this would happen.
Right.
And there are no answers. You can drive yourself crazy going after those answers. There are no answers. But what you really want to do is make that experience within your life a powerful, meaningful, positive one. And this is something that has grown from that experience, from my own experience,
Yeah.
that has been amazingly powerful and positive in my life. And I hope that it's been amazingly powerful and positive in other people's.
Right. No, that's
Sounds like
a great story. I mean, it's just interesting how a moment in time, you had this happen, which is horrible and a hard thing to go through, but it came out with such a positive impact, which is what I think was really amazing. We're getting toward the end of our time here. Is there anything else you'd like to say? How the community can help you? Anything like that?
Well, first, I want to thank Impact Club because 2 years ago we were at really a fork in our road in regards to how we were going to grow, and what your organization or what your club does is so powerful because I feel like a lot of the grant funding that you can receive from these larger foundations that would give an organization a very similar amount of money, go towards specific programs. And the fact that small organizations can come to you and have the opportunity of receiving, over $10,000 that goes directly into their foundation. So your programs, especially if you're a small organization, your programs are only as strong as the foundation that you build. And to receive incredible donation to go straight into the strengthening of the foundation really has such an amazing impact. So
Awesome.
yeah, I really want to thank you for that because it's such a powerful way of really being able to provide services.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an amazing. We're coming up on 3 years now, and we're up to $116,000 donated. And it was interesting coming from the first event where I was nervous and like thinking that nobody would show up, and now we're 3 years later. I'm sure probably PCK started the same way, thinking like, will this work? Can this work? And now look where you're at. Delivering 1,200 meals a week, which is amazing. And you're an amazing person for having the courage for starting it and getting out there and helping so many people. It's truly
I wish I could take. I can't take all the credit. It was definitely a community oriented. It's always been community centered, and it's been community grown. So
yeah, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys do a great thing. It's impressive what your guys' organization does, and something that's certainly needed. And I know that there's a lot of people that are appreciative that you guys are around, us included. It was exciting to have you guys in there, and and to be able to help contribute to that was very meaningful.
I think everybody knows somebody affected by cancer. I mean, so that's what's so powerful about it. And the fact that you guys are providing nutritionally balanced based meals for them and their family. So, which is awesome. So.
Yeah. The only other thing that I would say is we do have our team board, like I mentioned, runs their own fundraiser. And this year they were planning on doing a Beyond Burger cook-off.
Oh, cool.
And so a vegetarian-based, meatless-based burger cook-off. Unfortunately, with the current, we had to cancel that event.
Yeah.
But they are continuing and revamping that event into a online fundraiser. And so that's our next step, is really developing or, getting some funds in regards to continuing our current service, because our production has ramped up in such a exponential degree. Being able to have a fundraiser that really helps support us at this time is really necessary. So the teams are really excited about that, especially since they haven't been able to cook within our kitchen for the last few weeks. So to be able to have this role and be able to provide support for us in another way is really important to them.
And they're going to do it all online though. So they're going to do like an online fundraiser. And when will that start? I'll be kicking
Hopefully
off?
this week.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We'll be looking.
Yes, it will be.
Awesome.
Make sure we plug it as well.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and
awesome.
You guys are up. You can come back to Impact Club, so we got to see if we can get you guys back in there.
All right, awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I think the next one will be July. Hopefully it'll be a live event, but who knows? Social distancing measures may still be in place. So.
Came out pretty good.
I'm impressed. I mean, that's amazing. Yeah.
We still did it. I was worried like we're gonna have to cancel it. I was like, we're not canceling it. We're gonna make this work. So
we're gonna do it.
Which is cool. But
good job,
with that, Shanna from Positive Community Kitchen, thank you for being on the Impact Cast, powered by Impact Club. Eugene.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Thank you so much. All right. Have a great day.
See ya.